Okay, so let's look how to do something kind of like this. Okay, it's kind of gooey, sort of following the contour, roughly skin thing. All right, so I've got some video here, and I picked something simple because it's only moving in one direction, and the arm itself is not moving, and that kind of makes it easier. So you want to pick a clip where you don't have to constantly adjust the animation that you're adding to match up with the body. And you'll notice that the clips in the video you sent me, they also kind of picked a straight pan up an arm, right? All right, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to get the whole thing into view. Okay, I want to be able to see the entire arm here. And then, by the way, when I say into view, I mean like I found the point in the video where the whole arm is visible. And then at this point, I want to start drawing a path, like a shape, over where I want that blobby black thing to appear. Okay, that's called a mask. If we have a shape if we have like a shape that we want to use to like frame something else, so in this case, we would need a shape to frame the gloopy globbiness. We're creating a mask, okay? Or actually, in After Effects, it's called a track mat, okay? It's annoying, but different terms. Photoshop, mask, After Effects, track mat. All right, so let's draw that. I'm just gonna get my pen tool, and then I'm gonna make sure that the layer, like no layers are selected. So looking over here, this layer, tat, is selected. If I click over here, not selected, right? Selected, click down here, not selected. So nothing is selected. Great. I'm just gonna zoom in and I'm gonna start drawing my sort of goopy thing. And I don't wanna fill, so I'm gonna turn the fill off for now, and I'm gonna turn a stroke on so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. And pen tooling is sort of an art. Some people are better at it than others. It takes practice. I'm certainly no expert with it. But so I'm just gonna, real quick here. Whoa, where did we go? Real quick here. Mask off this arm, and I'm doing my best to kind of follow the contours of the skin here and pick up this vein again. Depending on what you're doing, you may or may not want to follow something. I don't know. Okay, and then I feel like it kind of takes a sharp turn down into here. All right, there we go. So we've got this shape going over this arm. All right, I want this shape to track across this woman's arm. So there's kind of a couple ways to do that, right? And we already learned one, which is parenting. So I'm going to parent the position of the shape layer, which right now I'm going to rename mask. I'm just going to try this. I don't know if it'll work. I'll parent the position of mask by grabbing the pick whip, this thing, to this. Okay, and then I'm going to reposition it. Okay, that doesn't work. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have to do it manually. So right now, I know I want it here at this point in time. So I'm just going to hit, I'm waiting for this thing to go away. I'm just going to hit position. And that's going to lock it in, right? It's automatically inserted a keyframe. And it matches that keyframe. Then I'll go back in time. And I'll grab this layer. And I'll position that where at the same spot. Okay, so now we're tracking. Beauty. All right, now we got to create this sort of bubbling, oozing thing. So let's create the bubbling, oozing thing. Again, I want to make sure no layer is selected. So right now, mask is selected. I'm going to click down here. Now, nothing is selected. I'm going to get a triangle. So I'll just a rectangle. I'm going to double click rectangle. and I'm gonna fill it. I'm gonna turn off the stroke. I'm gonna fill it black. Okay, and then I'm gonna make it roughly the size of the forearm. Let's say about that big. There's a tool called Effects, Distort, and is it Ripple? I think it's Turbulent Displace. So we'll turn on that. There we go. So if you look, if I hit play right now, nothing happens, right? You can see that if I change these things, I can sort of change the look of this ripple. So I'm gonna go like that. Okay, and if I hit play, still nothing happens, but I gotta keyframe the ripple. So I gotta make the ripple happen over time. So let's pick, say, evolution. See, evolution is what we need here. So I'm gonna say, I want the evolution to start at 0 seconds. I'm gonna keyframe it. So we're at 0 seconds, evolution, lock it in. Then I'm gonna move ahead to 10 seconds, and at that point, I'm gonna change the evolution. I'm just gonna change it to 1, and we'll see how that looks. Maybe that's a little slow, right? So I wanna get to that keyframe where I put the 1 and I wanna change it. So we'll go to that shape layer, which maybe I'll rename it right now, glob. Go to that shape layer, go to the effects, go to turbulent displace, go to evolution. I wanna jump to this keyframe right here. So if I press this, watch, I'm gonna jump to it. Boom, and look, there's that 1. I'm gonna change it to, let's say 3. All right, that's more of the speed I'm going for in terms of just like the blobbiness of it. And now keep in mind, like you can adjust all of these things here to sort of be, you know, what you do or don't want, right? You can adjust the size here, bigger, smaller. I'm gonna make it a little smaller, right? Maybe bring the amount up a little bit. Okay, let's say that's what I like. You know, who knows if it is, whatever. All right, so now I gotta get my mask layer and I need to actually apply it to mask off the glob. So I wanna put the mask on top of glob, so I'm just click and drag it on top of glob. And the mask has to be filled in order to work. So let's go stroke, let's get rid of that red stroke of the mask, and let's add a fill. It can be any color. I'm gonna make it red, just so it's visible. And then I wanna go back to my glob layer and say track alpha matte mask. So now the layer on top is masking this, okay? So let me zoom out here. All right, and now we're getting this creepy effect happening here, okay? And you'll notice that it kind of, you know, it's starting too soon, right? So I'm gonna go all the way back to 0 seconds. I'm gonna grab my glob, and I'm just gonna move it back. You know, and depending on how this is done, you might actually need to move the glob over the across the track mat, right? This can happen in different ways. Actually, in this one, it kind of has to happen. So the glob needs to move a little bit. Because right now, see, we get to here, and the glob hasn't made it all the way to the end. So that's okay, no problem. We'll go back to 0 seconds. We'll get to our glob. We'll go to transform. We'll lock the position in here at 0 seconds. And then we'll go ahead to where our video ends at 10 seconds. And we'll just drag it forward so it sort of fully covers everything. You know, and you know, we could have even more fun with this. We could say once it gets to about here, maybe we want it to like actually go all the way through. So I'll jump back to that last keyframe, and I'm actually going to pull it right across. So what will that look like? Let's see what that looks like. Right? And we can have even more fun with this. So I'm just going to position this somewhere that I can see it. Although, you know what? I'm kind of missing out a little bit on. I kind of want to make it smaller so that I can see it. All right, whatever. So you get the idea there. So let's say I want to make this a little bit more visually interesting. All right, I can go to. Let's just add a blur. So select this layer, glob, effect. I can't remember where blur is, so I'm just going to search it. I can't do a motion blur, blur and sharpen, effect, blur and sharpen, Gaussian blur. And I'll just blur the edges of this a little bit. Okay, yeah, that's blurring the edges there. You can blur those edges, and maybe we can even blur the edges of the mask. So that, yeah, cool. Okay, so maybe actually I think that's too much. So let's just do that much. All right, so now we got this happening. Okay, maybe I'll bring the opacity down a little. So just a little, show her skin a little, right? Man, this is creepy. All right, cool. So that's that. All right, and then if you wanted color, man, there's so many ways to start coloring this. So if we go to Effect, Color Correction, I'm just gonna pick Hue Saturation. There, you could use many of these. And then I'm going to click Colorize. And now, if I start changing these, well, that's not working. Okay, first I want to add some lightness. There we go. And some more saturation. And now I can change the color of it. And I can make the color change over time. So if we go back to 0 seconds, okay, and we start keyframing Colorize, we can put one color here. So I just turned on keyframing for color, and then I'm gonna go 10 seconds into the future, and then I'll just change this. I'm gonna change it by a random number. I have no idea what this will do. Okay. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea of what's going on here. At this point, any other more details you want, is kind of just experimentation, but this is the general principle that's involved with this technique. So I hope that's helpful. All right.